The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time. It's Thursday. It's Korner Booth Pregame.
You ready? No debate, cause it's all. I'm too official, got the drip, I got the sauce. Bring the proof when it's time to tell the truth. I'll be at the corner booth, find me in the corner booth, yeah. Still standing and defiant. Slay the competition, cause I'm walking like a giant. Bring the proof when it's time to tell the truth. I'll be at the corner booth, find me in the corner booth, corner booth.
I see as well. Kate, I feel like I have not officially said this. I've tiptoed around it. Kate, will you marry me?
Do I have to answer now? Or?
No, you have time. You can think about it. You can think about a way to say no without hurting my feelings if you want.
Oh my
Lovely.
God.
I'll send you a letter.
Just don't even.
Okay, cool. Thank you. I'll send you my address later so you can send it to my house.
Yeah, I'm never giving you my address. I don't want you getting that close.
Oh, I know.
I always try to say, like, I'm going to get rid of that intro, but, like, it's hard to pick the wrong clips and the right clips, especially that ending part where our boy Kev from the Tailgate in the Quad Pod just lays it on the line. But, ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the Korner Booth Pregame. I am, of course, your host, Jared Klim, alongside my amazing co-host, the TikTok sensation and the Italian Viking, and the now has been to New Orleans, Matt Ordazzo.
Nice to meet you guys. I got my little walking stick buddy that I brought back home with me. That was a fun thing to get through TSA.
Listen, I brought home a voodoo bracelet from like the backwoods of the French Quarter. Literally, I chucked that shit into the woods. I swear I had a bad luck for a year. Could not make heads or tails of it. But speaking of heads or tails, here's a man who I'm not sure he's much of a gambler, but he's a craft beer fanatic, a Yankees fan, a devoted football fan, including the Jets, and one of the coolest and probably brings I'd say the humility and a little more holiness than you and me or anybody else does. Ladies and gentlemen, host of the No Credentials Required, Mr. Ryan McCarthy.
Gentlemen,
Howdy,
back in the corner booth.
Yeah, have you back. Speaking of comebacks, ladies and gentlemen, this man in the myth, the legend, hosts the Insert Name FC podcast. He is a member of the Korner Booth family. He is a Houston native, a Houston sports fanatic, judging by his red Texans jersey. One of the coolest human beings I know. Ladies and gentlemen, making his Korner Booth debut after a long year absence, Hector Flores.
What's up, man? Yeah, it's long overdue, man. I don't have a drink, but I do have a lacrosse ball. So
you know what? It works. I'll drink for you. I'll drink for you, Hector.
Like
Ryan,
the Arian Foster jersey right there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, the drip is real with Mr. One Cut himself. Here's one for you, Ryan. This is a Wachusett Imperial Blueberry Ale. I'm excited to try this today. I feel like this is definitely. When I knew you were coming on the show, I was like, this is definitely a McCarthy one. I got to roll with this. So we'll see what happens. We'll do a live taste review. But, gentlemen, how was your 4th of July weekends? Anybody lose a finger, a toe, a relative?
No, I was celebrating it down in the Bayou. So New Orleans was a fun time down there for 4th of July weekend. I enjoyed more when you're walking down the strip of Bourbon and, you know, everybody's in the balconies trying to throw beads to everybody, and just the people that aren't paying attention and they just get beamed in the face with these beads. And these beads aren't like AC Moore 99-cent type things. These are some, like, they sounded like they were making some serious contact with these people's skulls. It was interesting watching these people just take these hits.
Did you flash them? Is that why you got the beads?
No. I stood to the side and I just kept looking up because you just never knew when the next one was
Show us your moves.
he was too busy going ham on a beignet.
Oh my God.
Dude,
yes,
beignets.
I had about 5 of those. And then those were amazing. Cafe Du Monde had the best ones, but you can't go wrong with Cafe Beignet.
I didn't get a chance to actually go to one of these. I had to stop like one of the little stands, like one of the little ghetto ass little freaking stands hidden away in the southern French Quarter. But like, dude, when I went there, my biggest thing was anything Cajun seasoned and anything that was cheap beer.
Mm-hmm. I had to bring some seasoning home. It was just unreal. It makes this food up here just like nothing.
Tastes like a neighborhood you haven't been to.
Oh my God. I was like looking at all the houses for sale, like looking at all the prices. I was like, I got to see how much this cost.
See, I was like, when I went there in college, right? So like, I wasn't really that good of a cook yet. I didn't perfect my Cajun seasoning until like 3 years ago. I've been obsessed with cooking Cajun. I finally got it right, and now I have a recipe I have written down, and only about 3 people alive know it. And I told Matt part of his wedding gift was I'd give him my recipe.
I'm gonna be making some beautiful seafood boils with this
Hell yeah.
seasoning.
Well, I use a certain technique, especially for chicken and steak. It's called beef. It's called mud water, where I mix the seasoning in with half a stick of butter, melted obviously, water, hot water, and the seasoning. I let it just mix up, so when it sits in the freaking container with the meat, it just gets into every nook and cranny down to the core, so every bite is flavor packed to the T. You can also use Jack Daniels if you want to really jack up the flavor, or you can use Worcestershire, but you got to make sure you don't overdo with the seasoning. But it's a certain method I picked up from a guy I used to know who used to cook a lot of these big family style meals, like 8, 9, 10 people. And he goes, dude, I'm telling you, soaking the meat in the water seasoning is the best way to do it, because especially with something like chicken, where sometimes it's like got a thicker exterior like chicken breast, makes a world of a difference.
Yeah,
it is crawfish season here in Houston. So.
Love me crawfish. I actually had some on Friday. Or no, 4th of July. I had some. My neighbor was doing a crawfish bake, and my dad stopped in, and the neighbor knew how much I love Cajun cooking, so he sent it up to me, and I'm like, okay, this tastes like it just came right off of freaking Crown Street. Like, I am like loving this right now. It was just hot enough, and I was like, this is perfect. By the way, fellas, this is dangerous. It tastes like blueberry beer. There's no imperial taste to it, but it's 8%. Somebody help me.
Ooh.
Hey, well, you're home, so
I don't live in Connecticut, so
that sounds dangerously good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's what chooses
sounds
too.
like
so they may have it up by you there, buddy.
Sounds like one of those loyal lemonades where they're like 9%, but you taste nothing.
Yeah, all you taste is straight fucking sugar.
Yeah, you taste that too. But 9% AM.
Either way, listen, as much I would like. For 4th of July, obviously, I know. I'm guessing Ryan, you guys did you guys barbecued it up, pretty laid back.
Yep. Went to my brother's house. Oh, actually, I worked 6 hours at work. I did 6 hours of work and time and a half. So I'll take it. And then I went to my brother's house. He's only a 10-minute drive from my place, and hung out, grilled, drank beer, swam in his pool.
There you go.
Good time.
Oh, I injured my shoulder throwing my buddy over he tried to jump on my back doing like he's just jiu-jitsu and stuff, and he's really strong, but he's like half my size, and he tried to get me in a lock. I threw him over my shoulder, and my buddy described it as like a grizzly bear throwing another one over his shoulder, because I just like flung him, and then I realized I hurt my bad shoulder. I was like, great, I got a pitch in a wiffle ball tournament next Sunday. But it doesn't hurt to throw, it just hurts to lift. So, and honestly, I should be good by Monday, so I'm taking a couple days off from lifting. But honestly, I threw a party. It was a good time. Cooked way too much food. I still have leftovers for days. I bought 50 pounds of meat, only cooked about 30 of it.
Nice.
Man.
And, dude, are you kidding me? I got meal preps for days, baby. I don't got to hit the food store for a month. I'm hyped. I ended up walking out with 30 pounds of chicken breast. I didn't cook a single pound of it. I started cooking as meal preps because I ended up having burgers, kielbasa, and hot dogs. I didn't care. Being a Polak, you got to have the best kielbasa. So
how do you cook your kielbasa?
So my family recipe is to do it in the oven. My recipe is to split char it. So you slice it and just let it open up, and then you dice it. You dip it whatever you want. You put on a sandwich, put it in eggs, put it in pasta, whatever. Because the flavor is so well made, because it's from an actual Polish deli that I'm related to. Some by second cousin, third cousin, whatever. It's out of New Britain. But yeah, no, they're Kibas is always a solid time with it. So
You're not
definitely my
a boy
go-to.
with that.
Matt, next time you and B come up to visit, I'll make you guys some. All right.
Nice.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to kick this popsicle
What about
stand.
Hector? What
Oh,
did Hector do for?
Oh my
what did Hector
God!
do for
He was just kind of sitting there quiet in the corner. I completely spaced. I do this to him all the time. H, what did you do for your barbecue 4th of July events shenanigans?
We kept the basic, Coronas and burgers. CONCACAF Gold Cup is going on, and so ironically enough, El Salvador was playing on 4th of July. They got a draw, so me and my family were just roasting El Salvador like we always do, like good Salvadorians would do. And then also my brother-in-law's Guatemalan, so props to Guatemala. They won their group, this is like their second appearance in like a long time for the Gold Cup. So I mean, we were happy for my brother-in-law, but yeah, for El Salvador, it's just depression as always.
Well, I watched the USA kick the living piss out of some island I barely heard of. So
St. Kitts.
Colonialism's alive and well, kids.
USA.
Yeah,
America.
They should honestly win this tournament. They should honestly win this tournament. I will say that.
Fair enough. All right, folks, we kicked it off. We let it roll, and now it's time for the very first segment of the first part of the show. It's time for the first round. Kick that Southern music. And, of course, the first round is brought to you by the amazing people at Mahler Bros. If you want the most comfortable, stylish golf apparel around, check out MahlerBros.com. Promo code BELLYUP, 15% off. I personally have the blue camo polo. I rock on the golf course at least once a week, if not every other. Lingerie is once a week, folks. I'm not a pig. I enjoy it. Very comfortable stuff. Also be on the lookout for Mahler Bro X Korner Booth crossover hat coming during the football season. Matt and I will probably debut them on the podcast along with Mason. It should be a good time. If you want yours or you want any of this amazing golf gear, check out MahlerBros.com. Promo code BELLYUP for 15% off. All right, fellas, first round, we're kicking it off. Damian Lillard's in the news, Matt. What do you got for me?
Mr. Damian Lillard, who, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't he's on? When did he say something about being like the last loyal basketball player to his team? Like how there's no loyal. It's still fairly recent. There's no loyalty in the game anymore. Well, this man has requested a trade from the Wizards, and from what I've heard recently,
Trailblazers.
Oh, from the Blazers, sorry. And from what I've heard lately is his agent is telling all teams not to trade for him unless you're pretty much Miami. Because if you trade for him and you're not the Heat, he's going to be one unhappy player you're acquiring. So Lillard wants out and he wants in Miami is the latest I've got for you.
I'll get it rolling here because I was listening to one of my favorite basketball podcasts the other day. I think it was Shams was on it actually, and they were talking about why this makes no. Oh no, it's our boy Frank Michael Smith, friend of the show. Actually, it makes no sense why Miami would make this deal, or no, Portland would make this deal with Miami, because Miami is getting Dame. They're not giving up Bam. They're not giving up Duncan Robinson. They may, but what? Duncan Robinson, a couple picks, is that really worth the greatest player in your franchise since the Scottie Pippen Sheed days? I think the strong arm tactic, it feels really Anthony Davis, New Orleans-esque, where they're kind of hamstrung by, I want to play for this team only. I mean, I'd love to see Dame and Jimmy play together because the amount of attitude and I want to fuck you up in that backcourt is terrifying. But at the same time, it's everything just feels when they do the forced trade thing, it kind of takes all the excitement out of free agency. We can talk about James Harden, the fact that Daryl Morey asked for basically a mortgage, the key to the Kingdom of Scotland, half of Uganda, and at least 2 oil tankers. That's what he asked for basically in compensation for James Harden's strip club love and ass. So, fellas, NBA free agency is alive and well.
Can I interest you in a little pardon the interruption small breaking news, I guess you could say. There's apparently gaining momentum that the Jets are now pretty much moving on to the next round with Dalvin Cook. There's been gaining momentum recently on signing free agent running back Dalvin Cook as they're heading towards training camp. The Jets are now kind of moving into the role as the front runner suitors for him per Pro Football Talk.
So we moved from courtship to near engagement now?
Yeah, we've got the blessing, but we're just trying to get the hand in marriage now.
Trying to put that ring on it.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Not to break up the NBA news is what I was saying.
No, you're good, man. Listen, I think I just logistically, I mean, they're talking about Breece Hall not being ready for week 1, and I know they are like Super Bowl or bust for the Jets, and I am happy for Jets fans. One, because Brandon Marshall basically said it's Eagles-Jets Super Bowl, which honestly, for the love of God, that'd be hilarious. On this show, are you kidding me? Also, anybody who beats Kansas City is a friend of mine. So,
I don't know what would happen.
H's Texans are going to probably win 8-9 games this year. So, like, this is going to be a wild NFL season. What'd you say, Bubba?
What he was saying. Thank you.
Yeah, no, literally. I looked at their schedule, and then I looked at the roster. I was like, I could see 8-9 games. Like, the AFC South is this year's AL Central. It's booty cheeks. You have the Jaguars.
This is the NFC South.
Listen, the NFC South has like a lot of like sneaky teams that aren't like terrible. So it's like they're not terrible, but like Tennessee is going to lose 12 games this year. They're not going to get Hop. They're not going to get a full good season out of Tannehill. You're going to have what's his face? Will Levis in by I'd say week 8, 9, and he's not ready. Got a cannon, but he's going to make a lot of interceptions and a lot of throws. There's going to be like no Zach Mettenberger coming out of nowhere kind of situation. And then, like, Jacksonville they didn't make a move. Besides, I love the Calvin Ridley acquisition, right? But I want to see them make the jump because I watched them choke away a walk-in over the Super Bowl champion Chiefs. They could have easily put them on ice. They basically broke Mahomes' ankle. They could have easily put that game away, and they couldn't score. I don't know if it's Peterson or it's Lawrence, but one of them choked. But
we got Carlton Davis saying, "Don't sleep on the Brady-less Buccaneers, otherwise they will be in for a rude awakening." Pretty much. I don't know what scares me about the Brady-less Bucs. It's not. I'm not scared of them. It's not Baker. It's not Trask.
I talked about it a couple weeks ago on a friend's show. I took over for him for a couple of days, a couple weeks ago. And somebody, I think it was Josh, who I didn't ask me anything episode, and Josh Mahler asked me. He said, "What do you think about the Bucs with Baker?" And I said, the only thing that really kept back the Buccaneers last year was all the injuries they had in their offensive line. Once Ryan Jensen went down in the preseason, that offensive line suffered the entire year. It's like when Elijah Vera Tucker went out for the Jets. When he was gone for the year, that offense looked terrible. So it's going to depend on what the offensive line does. That's the basic starting foundation of your offense is what your offensive line can do. So on the flip side of the ball, what your defensive line can do for your defense, they've got Vita Vea, who's kind of a low ball, like low flying, elite defensive lineman. So I think the Buccaneers could do some damage, but they have to remain healthy, and the offensive line has to remain healthy. But in addition to that, everybody in the NFC East has a really tough schedule this year.
Yeah, it's a little brutal.
Or the NFC South, excuse me. They have a really tough schedule.
The East and the South got hosed by the scheduling team this year.
Yep. As did the AFC East, too.
You know what? Can I say something about the schedule and who got hosed? Every year we hear, oh, this team got hosed, this team got screwed, this team got messed up. And then by the end of the season, they're talking about like, oh, their schedule was so easy. They walked into the playoffs backwards. It's kind of a loaded question saying, oh,
it goes back to you won't know till you're actually.
Exactly. You don't know until you play the game. It's the age-old thing, man. It's like yesterday I was on Captain Lou's little shenanigans talking baseball, and I said baseball is the ultimate reactive sport. baseball is at its best when you have no idea what the fuck's going to happen until that pitch is thrown. Football is great until a play breaks down or a guy gets hurt. And it's all what you do from there. Listen, last year, if you told me Philadelphia's going to have the best record in the NFC, I would have been like, cool. But I wouldn't believe. I would have said, all right, maybe we're going to finish in second or third. But they did. The only bold predictions I got right were that Russell and the Broncos was going to crash and burn like the Hindenburg. The Jags were going to make the playoffs. And what was my other one I hit on? Matt, you remember this one. I'm trying to think right. Oh, no, there's 3. Eagles win the division. Jags make the playoffs. And Russ in Denver blows up. So I went 3 for 3 last year. Back-to-back seasons going 3 for 3. And I think Duckman has my bold predictions for this year written down. So should be a good time this year. But one more headline, and already Josh is kicking it off with who his favorite. The whole theme of the show is who are your favorite athletes that never played for your team. We'll go in a round-robin order. Explanations. There's no reason. There's no sport. You could say any sport. There's going to be a lot of randomized shit today because I know Ryan is big on hockey. Hector is big on soccer. I try to watch both sports when I can, but let's be honest, baseball, football, college football reign supreme in my book. Matt loves his UFC, so there's going to be a lot of, even though UFC is an individual sport, obviously. But anyway, you get my
what's
point.
His favorite fight camp?
Okay,
Right?
fine. Fair enough. All right, we have 2 more headlines, and we'll get into it. First off, last NBA headline, Grant Williams, Celtics big man, is on his way to the Mavericks as of this afternoon. I guess the Celtics make room in that front court for Kristaps Porzingis. But, interesting move. Dallas is really trying to load up to try to not be a bottom feeder this season.
They're trying really hard to keep Doncic.
Oh, yeah, they know that's their future, man, because they know Kyrie's a basket case. Any other comments on Williams to the Mavs before we hit MLB All-Star Home Run Derby?
Well, my co-host Dustin will be happy that this solves the wound that was Kyrie Irving re-signing with the Mavericks. He did not want Kyrie on that team, but this makes up for it a little bit, I think.
So he's a Dallas Mavericks and Seattle Seahawks fan. That's a new one.
His favorite hockey team is also the Edmonton Oilers.
Who's his baseball team?
The Yankees.
It's kind of like your version of Jerry.
Dustin's has eclectic taste when it comes to sports.
So Dustin is like the alternative version of me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. I knew I liked that guy.
Is he in Canada?
What's that?
Is he in Canada?
No, Dustin lives like half hour from me.
Oh, I was watching one of your episodes and I thought the guy was on guest was from Canada.
No,
so
that would be Brent. Brent, aka my favorite Canadian.
Brent was my guest.
Yeah, dude, that's like the Bizarro Jared, except it's like the same, except just opposite teams. Just like was a fan of every non-local team you can think of.
I listen. I root for the New England Revolution. Okay, I have one local team I root for. All right. Also,
Go Red Bulls.
Also, because my boys have like season tickets, so it's like for me that's not really that hard to like work on that. Fellas, let's talk some baseball. Okay, listen, H, I know you're a Stros fan. We got 2 Yankees fans in the mix. Of course, my Snakes rocking at first place, even though they can't seem to fucking beat the goddamn Mets. All right. Oh, I don't want to talk about it. They're like for something about those fucking orange and blue losers from Queens. They just something about when they play us at home. It's always ugly. Then we go to City and kick the hell out of them. Anyway, Home Run Derby field has been announced. I love this field this year. No old aging stars this year. No Albert Pujols-esque kind of moves. We got a couple young rookies, which I love to see it. We got a lot of guys who are just hitting the crap out of the baseball, and a couple of defending champs, and some upstart guys, and a couple MVP candidates. So I'll go through the list right now. The 1-8 matchup is going to be Luis Robert versus Adley Rutschman. I believe his name is Adonis Garcia from the Texas Rangers. Ardalis Garcia, and then you have my boy Randy Arozarena my boy who I love Randy just because of the celebration. It's my favorite. The polar bear Pete Alonso from those fucking Mets. One of my favorite young baseball players, and actually a guy I was going to mention later because he hasn't played for my Diamondbacks yet. I don't think he ever will because, come on, I'm not that lucky. Julio Rodriguez. Mookie Betts is the 3 seed taking on another guy I'm going to mention later, son, Vladdy Guerrero Jr. Fellas, I don't see a weak link in this entire freaking lineup.
I just want to say it's unfair that Julio Rodriguez and Polar Bear Pete have to go against each other.
Oh my god, it's gonna be fucking awesome though. Oh my.
Oh no, I agree. I think it's gonna be J-Rod and Polar Bear is gonna be like the spectacle. But I feel like this is something we should have saw this a little bit further into. Maybe even this be like the championship round. But
yeah,
hey,
listen, J-Rod is the new Ken Griffey Jr. in Seattle. Man, he's just a power hitting outfielder who effortlessly hits home runs. I love his swing, by the way. It is beautiful. There's no effort, and he just cranks it every time. It's like Stanton watching him just do like his little trunk twist to hit it. But yeah, no, I'm loving this one. My favorite matchup probably is the lack of the size differential between Mookie and Vladdy Jr. Vladdy Jr., who's built like a nose guard, and Mookie Betts, who is built like Matt. So I mean, like I'm trying to I love the difference in size. I love the fact that Mookie has like that leadoff power pop. He's kind of, I believe somebody called him earlier this season the new age Ricky Henderson. I love that comparison a lot. And Vladdy Jr. is probably one of my favorite hitters in baseball. He's always the first guy I trade for in MLB The Show franchise, because he's just easy to, he's just fun. So I love that one a lot. The Arozarena Garcia matchup to me could be absolutely awful or amazing because neither of them are swing for the fences guys. They just have very good contact swings to hit a lot of home runs. So that one could be the other side of the bracket kind of feels a little like Luis Robert could easily run away with that entire side of the bracket, and it's just basically which one of the 4 guys on the other side goes up against him. That's my fear.
Anybody else feel like there's that possibility where with that home run derby years and years ago when Yoenis Cespedes just kind of came out and just made himself known to the world, and then Adley Rutschmanson comes in and just has another 2.0 home run derby. I'm excited for this for Monday's derby. When you looking at paper at first, I was like, this could not be a great derby, but I think with these matchups. I like Alonso and Julio. I wish it was a later round matchup because I think that just would have been a great main event type thing. But I wouldn't be upset if Vlad and Alonso moved on and faced each other in the semifinals because I would love to see the Peter Alonso and Vlad Jr. matchup. Mookie Betts is different. Yeah, I want to see that rematch. Mookie Betts is different. It's kind of like how they threw in Acuna the other year. But I'm excited to see him.
Acuna put on a little bit of a show. The problem is Acuna's swing. He's a well-rounded baseball player. Acuna is in that 5-tool kind of balanced symmetrically player type. So he's not going to absolutely hack away at the ball and hit it to the moon, even though he's top, 3 in home runs this year or 4. So he's having an MVP. He's running away with MVP for the NL. I'm excited. I think my winner prediction, I'm going to go with Vladdy Jr. is going to get the dub this year. My dark horse winner is either J-Rod or Luis Robert. Even though he's the number 1 seed, but I don't know why he's the number 1 seed because whatever. But yeah, no. Also, another sleeper, watch Randy Arozarena hit 1,000 home runs just because I feel like he would just alter his swing just to hit a bazillion bombs.
My prediction right here is a Peter Alonso, Luis Robert, a 1-2 punch finals, and I'm gonna take the difference. I'm gonna take Luis Robert in this one. I've seen Alonso win it many times. Let me get the number 1 seed to top it off this time.
Oh, there we go. All right. H, what's your prediction? What are you looking at this game? Who do you think's your winner? Who's your dark horse?
I'm going with Polar Bear Pete to win it again. I think he's just going to retain his dominance in this competition. My dark horse is going to be Randy Arozarena. I think that don't sleep on him. I think he could make quite a spectacle in this competition.
All right, McCarthy, finish us off strong.
All right, I'm going with Vladdy Jr. as the winner, and my dark horse pick would be Arozarena. Although, if I had to make one correction for this lineup for the All-Star for the Home Run Derby, I would have swapped Rodriguez for Ellie De La Cruz just to see what he does with that short porch at T-Mobile Park.
I also would have swapped. This isn't even homerism, just because the kid's just got the weirdest swing on the planet, but he hits bombs. I would have swapped out Mookie for Corbin Carroll. Just get Ellie versus Corbin Carroll in that freaking bracket. Are you kidding me? Two of the best young prospects in baseball. And both of them, Ellie's swing is so clean. He's just powerful. And here's this little 5'10" dude who runs like a 4.2 40, hitting the absolute daylights out of the ball every time he makes contact. And the thing is with why Carroll will be fun is because Carroll's got power to all fields, a lot like Mookie, but his swing is a lot more wonky, so it would be funny to watch. I don't know. I love this field. There was like this is one of those weird years where there's like they couldn't really pick a wrong field. There's so many great nominees, and I love the fact that the Derby has kind of made it the primary all-star event.
Anybody else feel like Pete Alonso may have came back too early from injury, and then going into the Home Run Derby could hinder health-wise or performance going forward?
What do you think? I'll put Julio Rodriguez in my dark horse.
Yeah, so
I think it's definitely a fair possibility. I mean, we've seen guys that go into the Home Run Derby and then go into the rest of the season, maybe have like a little bit of a rough period.
What was it, Ryan Howard a few years ago?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take Luis Robert as a surprise winner of this one, but I'm a dark horse that somebody that I'm not going to sleep on. That wouldn't be surprised if they make it a few rounds in. I'd say Mookie Betts. I'll go a little different and say I think Betts could take it another round or two.
There you go. All right, gentlemen, it's time. We've been waiting for it. The main event, your favorite athlete that never played for your team. Now, each of us are getting 5 athletes. Any sport, any college team, it does not matter. You get 5 guys who are never played for your 4 teams. So for me, they couldn't have played for the Diamondbacks, the Yankees. Sorry, not the Yankees.
Whoa.
Diamondbacks, the Eagles, Timberwolves, or University of Miami. So that is my criteria. For Matt, it'd be LSU, Yankees, Mets, and Bulls. All Houston sports teams. I don't know what your college team you root for is, but
I'm actually a Lakers fan and I'm a USC fan. But
okay, fair enough. Listen, I like the Lakers, except for LeBron, so I respect it.
I'm on the same boat. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, see, this is why we're friends. And McCarthy, I know it's all New York all the time, and then University of Albany. So his college is a layup.
No, I'm a Penn State fan.
Oh, that's right. You are PU. Oh, I'm sorry, Penn State.
Oh man, Christian Hackenberg. How bad would it have to be
I
a
still,
Penn State
I
fan
still
and
forgive him for the bullshit of '87.
You weren't even born yet.
I watched a documentary. It pissed
I
me off,
watched that game though. I did watch that game when I was a kid though.
It's okay. We got you back in 2000.
That
game I actually did watch. That game I did watch. Or 2001. Sorry, when Ken Dorsey and the boys stomped Joe Pa's boys in the head. I think they were honoring the 87. They honored the 87 team that beat the Hurricanes. The year the Hurricanes won the national title. God was punishing Penn State prematurely. Sorry, I had to make at least one joke.
Hey, who still won the title? Who still won the title in '87?
Okay, it was the last one that Joe Pa won, right?
It was the last one that you won, yeah.
Yeah. Oof. All right, kicking it off. We're gonna start with my boy Josh here, because he actually dropped a good one here. The Honey Badger. I respect this because I don't even know who the fuck Josh roots for. I think just it's Oklahoma. He's a Sooner for college ball, pro ball. He doesn't have a team, so that's a loose pick there. But I like it, Josh. It's a good pick. I'll start one
as
off.
someone that got to enjoy Honey Badger for one season, I could definitely say, well worth it.
My man's great. I love Honey Badger. I will start off with baseball. Vlad Guerrero Sr. I patterned my swing after him. I swung at pitches 15 feet out of the zone like him. I played right field like him. He was like, besides A-Rod and Randy Johnson, he was the player I idolized the most as a kid. Also took a home run out of my glove when I was 9. John Olrud hit a cutter hit a slicer right towards the line in right field at Yankee Stadium. I reached my glove out to get it. All I see is Vlad's monster mitt go in front of mine and grab it. I probably would have gotten thrown out of the game because I realized my arm was like a foot over the freaking fence. But yeah, it was really cool. I touched gloves with Vladdy Guerrero Sr. Childhood made. Yeah, Vladdy Guerrero Sr. is my first one. I loved watching him play. When he retired, I was honestly very sad.
Talk about doing you a solid there.
Yeah, right. Got me. I mean, listen, I'd stayed there for the entire 4-hour rain delay because it's my first baseball game. So my grandparents were like, "We're not fucking leaving. We're gonna go get first row seats."
Yeah, baseball wise, it's tough being a Yankees fan, having to come up with one. Just not even to brag or anything like that. But when your owner for the 40 years was pretty much signed everybody and traded for anybody, it's tough to think of. Obviously, there's many you can list, but when you've got guys that were just on their last limbs and this guy's trading the farm for like Randy Johnson for that 1 year and many other names to follow. Raul
I don't want to talk about those 2 years.
Gary Sheffield, Andrew Jones, Jason Giambi, Johnny Damon. It's tough to name people when they were on your team for 1 year at 40. I remember fucking Pudge Rodriguez was a Yankee. Jose Canseco was a Yankee.
He was. Ichiro Suzuki was a Yankee.
Pudge was a Yankee.
Ichiro Suzuki was a Yankee for like 3 years.
Yeah, Pudge was a Yankee for a half a season.
Yeah. So I'm assuming we're going around the horn like one at a time, or
I think you can just pick whatever.
I'm gonna go a little off script. I'm gonna go UFC. So I have an explanation how this is gonna work. This is a guy that never fought in UFC, but turned out to be one of the best fighters in fighting realm, but just was always with a different company. That would be Wanderlei Silva.
Okay.
I believe I got the right one. Sorry, not the right one because he was in the UFC. I'm talking about Fedor Emelianenko.
Fedor.
Okay.
I
was like, wait a minute.
Baby-faced assassin.
I remember they were both baby-faced guys, and I'm like, wait, I feel like I got the wrong one. Yeah, Fedor Emelianenko is just somebody that Dana White was never able to bring over into the UFC. It was just an absolute monster on every other promotion they fought for. So for me, for my UFC, Fedor Emelianenko is my first one.
And you thought UFC wasn't going to be possible, Jared.
One. As soon as you mentioned that,
found a way to do it, and I'm all here for it. All right, H, you're gonna start off with your first one. Who's one athlete you just like any one of your 5 you just rooted for? You wish they played for your squad.
So this guy, I'm actually gonna say it right now. If I ever have a son, I'm naming him after him, and that's Miguel Cabrera. He was literally one of my favorite baseball players.
Love Miggy.
Florida Marlins. Miguel Cabrera is actually who got me to fall in love with baseball. So that's I will definitely say Miggy is definitely my number one.
Well, fucking love Miggy. Also, by the way, absolutely broken in MLB 2K11.
Very upset they didn't.
Broken hitter of all time.
Very upset they didn't throw him in the Derby as like a last hurrah.
That would have been cool, though. I think Jared also would have been very like, "What the fuck?"
What, he's gonna hit 4 home? Like Pujols was known for just hacking, so like that's different. But like Miggy's a contact hitter who hit for power. That's what's different. Like Miggy was like had like the most broken contact. Like he hit a pitch out for a double. That was the most Miggy moment of all time to me.
Recently for me was when Miggy didn't realize he hit a home run in the snow.
You know what's so funny? I knew a couple guys who were clubhouse tenants. They're like, oh, I heard conflicting reports. One guy told me Miggy was a dick, and then the other two were like, yo, he's actually like a funny dude if you speak Spanish. I'm like, that tracks. So I honestly, I don't know what to think, but I always love watching him play baseball. And besides the next guy on my list, he's probably the funniest. Actually, no, this guy won't be on my list, but Adrian Beltre is another guy who he's an honorable mention.
We're just gonna skip Ryan.
Just so funny. But no, he's not on my list. I just was bringing this up because you said Maggie. Ryan, who's your first one?
All right, I'm going with the way of baseball. And to Matt's point, and I mentioned this to my sister-in-law the other day when I was watching a Yes Network Yankeeography about George Steinbrenner. So the best thing that ever happened to the Yankees in the 80s was George Steinbrenner going to jail. Because he couldn't run the team, and the Yankees could build up their farm system. That's why he got the team in the 90s and the early 2000s. But going back to my Yankees, there's one guy I would have loved to see in pinstripes. Absolutely loved to see in pinstripes. Is my favorite hitter of all time, Tony Gwynn. Rest in peace,
Mr. Padre.
Because Padre for life. But I would have loved to see him in the Yankee uniform just because and he never won went to the World Series twice, never won a World Series. If he had won a World Series in New York with the Yankees, he would have been a god. Not that he isn't already with the hitting god. The guy was a hitting machine for his entire career. Barely, I don't think he even hit 200 home runs, but his lifetime average is one of the top lifetime averages in all of career hitting in Major League Baseball. And I would have
different.
I had a poster on my wall when I was a teenager. It was a Nike poster of Tony Gwynn, and it was the hitting machine, and it had just the mechanics of his swing, and it was just my favorite poster in the world. He's my favorite hitter. I loved Tony Gwynn. I wished he would have become a New York Yankee. Would love to see him in a uniform.
There you go. All right, we're going to the second round here. I'm going to go with it killed me watching this player not play for my team forever. And he was I actually loved, this was everyone knows I'm a huge sneakerhead, even though now I'm more likely to wear cowboy boots than actual sneakers, just because at this point I just get into more shenanigans where I'm out in the mud doing dumb shit. But if I do wear sneakers, this guy is to blame for the first pair I bought. That'd be Tracy McGrady. I would have loved to see him play with my boy KG in Minnesota, but back then, Glenn Taylor is the cheapest motherfucker on the planet. An A-Rod-led Timberwolves team back in the 2000s would have easily signed T-Mac to play with KG. So Tracy McGrady, thank you for getting me hooked on sneakers. Thank you for being the most fun, lanky, dunking, three-point shooting, skinny motherfucker of all time. The only player ever who I had the same besides Kevin Garnett, him and KG, the only two players ever who I've had their jersey for two different teams. That shows devotion. I love T-Mac. I had a Rockets and a Magic T-Mac jersey.
I'm gonna go towards my college at LSU, but I'm gonna pick a player from LSU. I loved watching Odell Beckham Jr. when he was in college. And that was one guy where it was pick 14, and I was like, the Jets are like 3 away, and I'm praying that he squeaks by the Giants, and all you hear is New York Giants select Odell Beckham Jr., and I was just I knew what was going to come. He had that amazing rookie year. He was phenomenal for the Giants going forward. Had a very good chance of getting on the team this year. Didn't go as planned, obviously, but would have loved to have seen one of the most exciting players I've seen in my college with Odell Beckham Jr. on the Jets.
There you go. All right, H, what you got for me?
All right, I am going to go to I'm going to stick with football as well. And I mean, this guy, especially when there was no football team in Houston at the time, so you just had to watch whatever you can, and obviously fuck the Cowboys. I'm never going to root for that team. But there was a team that I saw very frequently here in Houston. I don't know why we always got their games, but we did. And that was the Minnesota Vikings. And I mean, the dude was just a highlight reel from the beginning. And that is, of course, Randy Moss.
Love it. All right, Mr. McCarthy.
Go a little off board here. I'm gonna go with Major League Soccer for this one.
I love it already.
Hey, what's that?
I love it already.
There you go. There you go. So actually, in 2014, I took my nephew. It was right off the heels of the World Cup. I took my nephew to his first professional soccer game. Went to the Red Bulls in New York. Again, right after the heels of the World Cup, we saw Clint Dempsey come off the bench for the Seattle Sounders. But that night, a certain player named Bradley Wright Phillips scored a hat trick and broke the MLS record for single season goals. Now, the Red Bulls had Thierry Henry on their team for quite a few years. But there's one guy who would have wanted to see a Red Bulls uniform. It's David Beckham. If he would have won the MLS Cup in New York, he won a couple with the LA Galaxy. Yeah, big deal. It's LA. So what? LA cares about sports for only like a certain amount of time before it goes out of style. With New York, if you win a title in New York with any New York-based team, you are a god. Not G-O-D, but G-A-W-D. A god.
With
David
Beckham
Beckham
accent.
You got that right. If David Beckham goes to the New York Red Bulls instead of the LA Galaxy, wins an MLS Cup or two with the New York Red Bulls, he would have been a soccer god.
Nice.
Among the pantheon to go with Pele, Franz Beckenbauer, all those dudes who went with the New York Cosmos back in the day. I would have loved to see David Beckham, number 23, the New York Red Bulls uniform.
Nice. Ryan, I wanted to say one hockey one I would pick if I watched him more growing up was Joe Thornton, but I had his hockey stick growing up, and when I attempted to try skating, Joe T was my dude. But always being a Pens fan, I always had Sid the Kid to look up to, Mr. Flop himself. But I'm gonna go football here, and that's Megatron, baby. I loved Calvin Johnson. I loved watching him just catch every fucking ball, just muscle through defenders, and just be a broken human being when he got in the secondary. There was a rumor, and it was actually confirmed, it almost happened in 2017, where the Eagles asked the Lions for the rights to sign Johnson because they were worried about the receiver depth going to the playoffs. And they asked the Lions for the rights to Johnson's contract. Johnson approved it, and the Lions said no. And my boy would have gotten a ring, and I would have had my boy Calvin Johnson play for my Eagles. And this is to still this day why I love the Lions, but I just want them to make the playoffs and get in and then get stomped. So like every time we play the Lions, I love that we kick their head in because it's a little bit of a payback for robbing Megatron of a ring. So Megatron is my number 3. Matthew.
My number 3, sticking with football on this one, and I apologize to Ryan in advance because this is going to open up some old wounds. Let's state the obvious here. Peyton Manning to the Jets would have been an amazing thing that we all were expecting to see, that we all did not see. Imagine that 2015 team with Peyton Manning. That would have been fun. That would have been fun with Decker and Marshall and Chris Ivory all having those 1,000+ yard seasons respectfully, individually. But that obviously we never got that to happen. So he went on to Denver, had a great career in Denver, but Peyton Manning to the Jets just would have been just the icing on the cake for finally getting an actual quarterback. Until now.
Yeah, and he screwed us with the Adam Gase.
Oh, Adam Gase, yeah.
So screw Peyton Manning.
I don't know what we did to like make him just have this vendetta against him, but I never want his advice for anything in life ever again. I'm good.
Nope.
All right, H, what you got for me?
All right, I'm gonna go to basketball, and this is a player that I currently like right now. Obviously, he's dealing with some trade issues, some trade BS right now, where he's trying to force his way out of his current situation. We actually just talked about it. That's Damian Lillard. Like him so much, I even have his shoes. So
there you go. All right, Mr. McCarthy. Rip it.
Once again, gentlemen, I'm going off board one more time with a different sport. I'm actually going to follow Matt's lead with the UFC. And we're going to mention a lady who, even though she's under contract with the UFC, has never fought in the octagon. We know her from the Fast and Furious movies. We know her from The Mandalorian. You may even know her from Terror on the Prairie. I'm talking about Gina Carano. And also my celebrity crush, Gina Carano.
Gina is bad. Also, Deadpool movies.
Yeah, I don't know how you've got this contract and they've never given her a fight. I don't know. It's like CM Punk when he was with the UFC for like 3 years and then he finally fought. Except this one just never happened yet.
Yeah.
I forgot she had a contract.
She's still under contract for 4 fights when they bought out Strikeforce.
Oh, Dana White is the man, isn't he?
And they would have marketed her, huge. Like she would have been bigger than Nunez. She would have been bigger than Ronda Rousey. She would have been the
Cyborg.
Cyborg.
And this is the perfect time to introduce her because you're losing Amanda Nunez. She's retiring, so I don't see why else you wouldn't want to introduce somebody new. And then right now,
the only problem is her age. She's 41 years old.
Yeah,
but she's old enough to date me. Let's just put it that way.
Shoot my shot,
Gina. Shoot my shot.
All right, I'm gonna go back to football here. This man did play for my college. He was screwed over by Bethan Cookman this offseason. He is Miami royalty. This man always got a cigar in his mouth and is always rocking that signature hair of his. Uncle Ed Reed. And you know you're a Miami fan when you only call him Uncle Ed. I don't call him Ed Reed. I call him Uncle Ed. Ed Reed. I loved Ed Reed growing up. Everyone knows who my favorite Eagle of all time is. That would be the other guy who wears number 20, Mr. Dawkins. And I love Brian for reasons of how he handled himself on and off the field. Like most guys don't have an idol to look up to as an athlete because most athletes are horrible human. Some athletes can be horrible human beings. Some of them just don't want to be looked at. The way Brian Dawkins handled his life made me look at him like a hero. So I was very blessed that the athlete I picked to look up to actually was a good human being and actually did handle himself well. But Ed Reed made me love Miami football. Watching old tapes of him deck dudes and run into the house and talk about how his shoulders fucked up and he still wants to win. Like, maybe the greatest halftime speech of all time, by the way. They ain't up by enough. I love that about Uncle Ed. The fact that I hope he hangs around with Mario one more year in the Miami program because he's got 2 All-American safeties down there in Miami. But listen, Ed never got to play for my Eagles. They've been like cursed since Brian left. They've only had 1 All-Pro safety since he left. It's and what up, tag along. But yeah, no, Ed Reed had to be mentioned listen, there's only 1 college athlete I have a jersey t-shirt of, and that is Mr. Reed himself. So gosh, just love the Baltimore Raven Hall of Famer.
Yeah, let's just not talk about his time at the Texans.
Oh, wait, that actually happened? I thought it was just a bad dream.
How to sell a cup of coffee with the Jets.
Yeah, I was gonna say time of the Texans, time of the Jets too, for like 5 games.
My man just didn't give a fuck after he left Baltimore, let's be honest.
Hey, he refused to be with the Patriots, so I'll take it.
Good for him.
Yeah. Man of the people.
My number 2-1. I'm gonna go to basketball this time around with my Chicago Bulls. And I'm gonna go with Kobe. I think Kobe would have been a fun guy to have on the team towards the end of Michael Jordan's time with the Bulls. And it would have been just kind of a great person to kind of carry on over to that next legacy of basketball with them. Obviously, Kobe was a lifelong Laker, had a lot of success there with Phil Jackson, with Shaq and everybody else. But Kobe, to me, would have been a lot of fun to watch on the Chicago Bulls.
And the best thing about Kobe is that I watched The Last Dance again for like the 4th time after I watched Air last week. He knew, like when it was the All-Star, his final-ish All-Star game as a Bull, and he saw it was on the floor with Kobe. He knew how good Kobe was going to be, which was very special.
I'll listen. He ain't giving me my top 5 because there was no way in hell he's going to Minnesota. The closest thing we got to him in Minnesota was him wearing those Minneapolis Lakers throwbacks. But gotta show love to Kobe because listen, the fact that Nike's bringing back Kobe sneakers, like I will give Nike all the money they need for those because he's part of my Eagles fan fraternity. And that's where I grew love for Kobe because of also wanted him as a motivational speaker, also as a fellow Eagles fan. But didn't appreciate Kobe as much when he was a player until he got a little older. Oh, like the Magic Finals was the time I started actually realizing how great Kobe was.
He got a little older. I think he got a little more team-oriented, was moving the ball around a little more, wasn't so me like he was in his younger days. But
fair.
And someone that got to be spoiled by Kobe Bryant. Yeah, I mean, you're talking about overall greatest, one of the best competitors ever to have done it. And I mean, whenever we throw a piece of trash into a trash can, what do we yell out?
Kobe! Thanks, Dave Chappelle.
That's right. That is a Chappelle skit.
Yeah. The love contract bit.
Jesus Christ. My phone just makes random sounds. I get sent links and it automatically turns the volume up, and I don't understand why. All right. I just went.
It's my turn.
Matt just went. Hector's turn. I'm like getting lost here, man.
All right. I mean, I gotta at least have soccer on my list at some point, right?
I was gonna ask about it. I was like, Hector, are we good here, brother? Where's the soccer team?
So you guys obviously know how I feel about a certain club, and that is, of course, Tottenham. Fuck Tottenham. Always gonna say that. Just hate that club. They think they've accomplished something, but they haven't.
Well, they're cocks. So
yeah. So they're one of their players that they have, I think, would make Real Madrid, which everybody, if you guys don't know, Real Madrid is my club that I support. This guy would make this front line freaking disgusting, and I totally would be all aboard of having him on, and that is, of course, Harry Kane.
Solid pick. Clutch score.
Yep. Would love to have him in Real Madrid. I know he's rumored to go to Real Madrid. Maybe it happens. Maybe it doesn't.
Fair. All right, Mr. McCarthy, let her rip.
All right, this one's going to be a basketball one. Growing up, being a kid in the 90s, I obviously was marveled by the Chicago Bulls, but I was keeping true to my New Jersey roots, and I was a New Jersey Nets fan for about good decade. Coach Chuck Daly was coach of the team for 3 seasons. And there was one guy who I would have wanted to be on the New Jersey Nets because of the fact that he loved Coach Daly so much, Dennis Rodman. To have a starting lineup of Dennis Rodman with Sherman Douglas, Derek Coleman, Chris Morris, and Drazen Petrovic, I think they would have challenged the Bulls for an NBA title. They would have been the primary challengers, not the New York Knicks. New Jersey Nets would have been the primary challenger for supremacy in the Eastern Conference in the early 90s.
I think the Nets should go back to New Jersey. Bold take. I think the Brooklyn experiment.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
It's the stupidest Jay-Z push for them to go back to Brooklyn. Nobody fucking cares. It's easier to get to New Jersey than it is to get to Brooklyn.
And besides, when the New Jersey Nets played New York in the ABA, they played in Long Island, not Brooklyn. And besides, Prudential Center is a beautiful arena.
Listen, Barclays is a pain in the dick to get to. And I'm from, listen, me and Matt from our area where we're from, try to get to freaking Brooklyn. That's an hour and a half drive. It's easy to get to Jersey.
Yep.
I could be in North Jersey in an hour and 10. That's from my house. Matt's an hour and 5.
Yeah, I can get to the stadium on a good day in an hour 15.
Yeah, I can get to Patterson, Wayne, where Victor Cruz hails from, in an hour and 20 minutes from my house. I'm flooring it, but that's no traffic.
Yeah, and bring back those red, white, and blue uniforms.
Hell fucking yeah.
Yeah.
Stupid ass black and white shit. Nobody cares.
You get half the arena darkened because nobody shows up for the games. Bring it back to Jersey.
Jay-Z ruins everything in sports. Who said that? He's my favorite rapper of all time. He should have stayed in rapping.
Yeah, well, If it wasn't for Jay-Z, Robinson Cano probably would have retired a Yankee.
Exactly. Ruined his career.
Probably would have been a Hall of Famer.
He played for the fucking Mets. Career ruined.
Ugh.
I got popped with steroids with them, like I think multiple times.
Yeah, because he played for the Mets and the Mariners. Who's up?
You are.
You.
I am up.
Last one.
No.
Last round.
Okay, so this one's a little close to home because this one almost happened. Back in, I believe, 2012, pre-Justin Upton trade. The Diamondbacks were in talks with the Marlins to acquire Jose Fernandez, and the deal fell through over draft pick compensation. Allegedly, I've talked to people who are close to who worked in this. I have a couple buddies who interned for the Diamondbacks. It's like I hear these stories. The Marlins pulled the offer because the Diamondbacks only offered them like one first round, like one of their top prospects or two of them. Instead, they wanted like four. And then the following season, Jose Fernandez dies in a boating accident because he was high on fucking cocaine. I loved Jose Fernandez. I loved how he pitched. I loved using him in MLB The Show. One of the saddest things I ever watched as a teenager was watching him. And the fact that he almost played for my team, if it wasn't for a greedy general manager, probably would have saved his life. Who knows? This is another reason why I despise the Florida Marlins. Obviously, it's all circumstantial. We never even know if this trade actually happened or it's just rumors. But the fact of the matter is, apparently, there was just compensation that killed this rumor. But yeah, Jose Fernandez. Loved watching him pitch, and who knows if he got in Miami fast enough, maybe he wouldn't have made the bad decisions. There ain't no boats in Arizona, just dune buggies.
My number one, a man that never played for the Yankees in his entirety of his career, stemming from the late '80s to the mid 2010s, mostly because he verbally hates the Yankees and refuses to ever play for them. But the man has the sweetest swing in the MLB history, and saw a recent post about what the MLB logo would like if it was him as it, and it looked beautiful. And that would be Ken Griffey Jr. That man is the epitome of a Bronx bomber. Somebody that walks in and is just clutch, hits for power, hits for average, and everything is just an all-around, just complete player. That is somebody that I'm sure George Steinbrenner spent multiple years trying to work up something to get him, and I'm sure he said no way.
Well, because he understood that you can't buy championships anymore.
Nope, that wasn't the reason why.
Oh, well, also, I mean, listen, that's just my opinion. Listen,
it's your opinion.
Also, here's the kicker, right? Modern baseball, you can't buy championships. Hector's Astros kind of laid the new ground for what baseball is. God bless the Astros. I never thought I'd say that.
You're welcome.
Continue.
Go ahead, Matt. I know the story why he would never be a Yankee.
Oh, if you could actually, I was hoping that you would tell the story. I would just.
Isn't the kids in the clubhouse or some shit?
Yeah, with Billy Martin never allowed kids in the clubhouse when he was manager, and when Ken Griffey Sr. was a Yankee late in his career, that's the rule that Billy Martin had: no kids in the clubhouse. So ever since then.
Also,
he's never going to play for the Yankees.
The 1 year the Yankees allowed facial hair, they won the World Series. Get the fucking memo, you dummies.
I mean, like, not for nothing, but by the time Griffey was up there and everything, Billy Martin was already dead. So, like, can we just honor the fact that that rule was dead when he died?
I think also your Yankees should get a reevaluation. Like, their whole Yankee way bullshit's kind of died since 2000. It died when Jeter retired. Let guys grow beards. Because the 1 year you guys did, you actually won the fucking World Series. So get your bullshit. I have spoken.
The only reason why that rule remains in effect is because his daughter Jennifer said, "I want to keep my father's memory alive. No facial hair."
Well, congratulations! You'll win a World Series in my 60s.
I feel like we struck a nerve there. All right.
You think?
All right. I'm gonna close it out with another soccer player. Obviously, Gold Cups are going on right now. One of the biggest rivalries between the U.S. is, of course, Mexico. And apparently, even Mexico has a rivalry with Mexico as they're hurting each other in the bleachers. But
I know that story.
there is one
There's a
player.
cartel joke there somewhere.
No. Anyway, I'll let Hector tell it.
Let's just say you could bring a knife in Santa Clara, apparently.
Lord knows you can't carry a gun in California.
But it didn't say anything about pocket knives.
Sorry, my libertarianism started showing.
But there's this one goalkeeper that comes in with Mexico every World Cup, just makes a highlight reel. I've actually watched this guy Guillermo Ochoa for like years playing in Liga MX, and there was always that day where I wish he would just come to the MLS and play for the Houston Dynamo, because he would guarantee pack a house everywhere he went. It would be just a nonstop tour because he is just the Great Wall of Mexico, and of course that's Guillermo Ochoa.
All right, McCarthy finishes off strong.
You know, I would have made a very tasteless 9/11 joke about lackluster security, but we're not going to go there. It's not quite yet time for those.
Damn, Kevin,
jokes.
chill.
Kevin's mom is a hoe. So anyway, you're welcome, Kev. All right, so I guess you could say number one player. I'm going to hockey for this one. My New Jersey Devils almost picked up Raymond Bourque from the Boston Bruins in 2001. And if they picked up Ray Bourque, they would have won the Stanley Cup and not the Colorado Avalanche. From what I understand, they were one of the top 2 or 3 teams that were looking to make a deal towards the trade deadline in 2001. Actually, in 2002 as well, when Bourque was still a Bruin. But had Raymond Bourque been a New Jersey Devil for number 77, he would have won a Stanley Cup in the New Jersey Devils. So it would have been a back-to-back. And he would have retired with the New Jersey Devils as a Stanley Cup champion, not with the Colorado Avalanche. That's still the bee in my bonnet when it comes to sports teams. My honorable mention actually is also Reggie White to the New York Jets.
He shouldn't have left the fucking Eagles in the first place. Shut your mouth. This is why Jeffrey Lurie bought the team, because the old owner was a cheapskate.
Hey, it would have been a New York Jets until God told him to go to Green Bay. Thanks, God.
Yeah, it's okay. Everyone, one of the worst things I hate in football is when people say Reggie White was a Packer. I'm like, shut your whore mouth.
He's also a Panther.
My man played 80% of his fucking snaps as an Eagle. I don't want to fucking hear it. He got his nickname. He got his stripes as an Eagle. He got his chip in. It's like Shady with his fucking chip in Kansas City. Nobody fucking cares.
Hey, Jared, I got some Reggie White trivia for you, though.
Okay, rip it.
Did you know he did not start his career with the Eagles wearing number 92?
It was 98, right? Or something like that?
93. His first season in 1986, he wore the number 93 because it was already taken by another player. And as soon as that player left, Reggie White took it. Because he wore that number with the University of Tennessee. He wore it with the Memphis Showboats, the USFL. And then he wore 92 for the rest of his career.
He was the USFL boy.
Except for that one boy. Except for that 1 year in 1986.
Oh, I got one for you, too. LaShawn McCoy's iconic number 25, which has not been worn by an Eagles player since. What number did he start his career at?
23.
29. There was a random cornerback who was like cut mid-season or some shit. That's who had 25. The second it was available, Shady took it, and nobody's worn 25 since. It's like a cursed number in Philadelphia. Nobody wears it.
I don't remember the name of the player who wore number 92. Oh, Smiley Cresswell.
That's a name.
Smiley. That's a name.
All right, fellas, we got ahead of ourselves. We actually finished up our main event about 5-10 minutes early. So this is the open floor now. We have anything you want to talk about, any gripes you have, any things you want to bitch and moan about, or things you're just appreciative of about sports. Now is your time.
Antonio Brown still sucks as an owner.
So
Get out of my city.
So Kevin drafted AJ Brown in our fantasy league, and named him new owner of the Albany Albany
Empire.
Albany Empire. And I was like, wrong A Brown, stop it.
I would have taken AJ Brown over Antonio any day.
AJ Brown
any
is a
day.
fucking goddamn saint. Watch your damn mouth. My love of AJ Brown was AJ Brown would have been on this list if Howie Roseman wasn't a fucking G and John Robinson wasn't a moron. God bless you, John Robinson. I hope you're enjoying unemployment well. Yeah, no, that Jose Fernandez will see, like when I try to do my top 5 with the athletes, like I could have said like Michael Jordan, Reggie Miller, but like, come on, I'm a fucking Timberwolves fan. They ain't going to my fucking squad. I ain't saying Kobe. But like when T-Mac was a free agent, Minnesota was actually a free agent destination because you had Sam Cassell, you had Michael Olakandi, on top of the fact you had one of the best two-way players in basketball, Mr. Garnett. And it was a destination at that point, but it didn't happen. He ended up going to the Rockets instead. The Diamondbacks ones, the Vladdy was more just like my dream because Vladdy kind of felt like an Arizona Diamondback player to me, whereas like he didn't feel like he fit in like the Yankees. Like the Angels made more sense to him. It's just. Where else he played? He played the Angels and Expos. He played one other team. Vlad Senior. Yeah, he played one other team. I don't think it was the Blue Jays.
Oh, I'm thinking his son. There we go.
Vlad Senior played on one other team.
Looking it up.
It's the Reds.
No, it was some team, obscure fucking team.
That's why I said that.
Texas and Baltimore.
There it is. I knew it was the East Coast team.
Forgot it was the Baltimore Orioles.
Forgot. Yo, he actually hit some fucking moonshots in Texas. By the way, please appreciate Texas's ballparks over the years have been just amazing for baseball.
Dude,
what, Minute Maid Park?
Minute Maid Park slaps.
Globe Life Park.
I'm talking about.
I know. We call it Mimic Maid Park over.
Yeah,
because it's basically a copy of Minute Maid Park.
Whatever the fuck they played at up until about 3 years ago in Texas, that ballpark in MLB The Show and MLB 2K was an instant home run ball every time. Anytime you hit
Globe Life Field, Globe Life Field, I think was like an iconic ballpark. The only thing that sucks about it is obviously once it's like in the summer, it's a
billion degrees.
Yeah,
listen. Like I'm next year. My goal is I'm gonna go to Arizona for like 5 days. I'm actually gonna get tickets for an entire series of Diamondbacks games, like 3 straight in a row, and I'm actually kind of looking forward to it because 80% of the time, once you get into Arizona in the summer, that roof's closed.
Yep.
So I'm looking forward to that one. All-Star starters. I'm excited. My Diamondbacks got 3 guys representing. Lourdes, Corbin, and Mr. Galen. Possible Rookie of the Year and a Cy Young out of our lineup. So I'm enjoying it. Got to give a shout out to Lou for hosting that baseball show yesterday, by the way. It was a fun time showing up.
You talk about how the American League roster only has one healthy outfielder in the starting lineup right now.
This is why players should be excluded if they are not available at the time. Like if they're at the time of voting, if they're on the IL, they have to be automatically removed from the ballot.
Yeah, because I mean, it was announced that Aaron Judge tore a ligament in his big toe, and then it was like, oh guys, look at that, he's starting in the outfield. No, he's not. He's probably not even playing this year. And you got Mike Trout that just fractured his wrist and is a starting outfielder right now too.
Trout's out?
Well, yeah. Trout, he's got a wrist fracture. He's out for like 6 to 8 weeks.
When the fuck did this happen? Like 2 days ago?
Within this last week.
It was crazy. I literally just watched him play against my Snakes last weekend, and he had home run against us. I was like, oh, fuck. Mike Trout, one of the greatest of our generation that nobody knows about. Fellow Eagles fan. What up, Mike? Millville, New Jersey. Shout out. But, like, that dude, like, he can't catch a break. Some guys
had like those chronic back issues last year.
Yeah, like all right.
The risk fraction.
Ohtani, does he finish the season with the Angels? Question mark.
Yeah. I think the
They're in a
only
wild
way
card
that they
race.
get, I think the only way they trade him is if he verbally tells them like, I'm not coming back, like I'm leaving, I'm gonna find a new team. I think that's when they trade him. I think if I'm the Angels, I'm holding on to that man until the very end, as long as I have some sort of hope that he will re-sign with me.
No, you're right.
I don't know how anybody else feels about that one. I mean, I've heard the whole Mets and Ohtani thing. I think the only way that is a possibility of happening is if he does hit free agency, which I don't think Stephen Cohen's going to get outbid for him if that's the case. But I don't see the Mets pulling off some sort of. I'm sure they'll acquire, but I inquire about it, but I don't think they're going to pull off some sort of midseason trade for Ohtani.
Nah, Steve Cohen spent a lot of money in the offseason for a team to finish what they're doing right now. I don't think he would invest how much whatever trade capital he has in the farm system to pick up Ohtani just because he wants to try to play Steinbrenner. That's what he's basically doing. He's trying to play George Steinbrenner.
Minus like giving up all of their farm system and current like big time players for elder athletes, but he's looking to just. I mean, I give him credit. The Mets have not been the buyers for years and years now, but that'd be the one place I could see him going when it comes down to money. But I don't see them forking over like Alvarez or Vientos and all of their other top prospects, plus like a McNeil or Nimmo or guys like that for Ohtani. It's going to take a huge package, but I don't think that's going to be a trade that happens this year.
Well, think about it this way. All Steve Cohen has to do is make illegal contributions to presidential campaign and plead guilty to obstruction of justice, and he'll go to jail. Somebody else will pick up the tab for a bit. When he comes back, when he gets out of jail, boom, team's fixed. That's the George Steinbrenner timeline.
Yeah, works. It worked.
Worked for the Yankees.
There you go. All right, fellas. McCarthy, finish up.
I'm about to say, did you guys see the FIBA World Cup roster for the U.S.?
Did not.
Is it all?
Is that right? That time of year now?
Yeah, it's that time of year. Because apparently there's no automatic qualifiers if you're Olympic champions anymore. You got to qualify for the Olympics now. So they went with this. They're doing the Steve Kerr thing and going with a really small lineup. So let's see who's on the. And Grant Hill's running things now instead of I can't remember his name. The guy whose son was son of the former Suns owner. I can't remember his name, but so yeah. Jaren Jackson, Walter Kessler, Bobby Portis, Michael Bridges, Cameron Johnson, Josh Hart, Tyrese Halliburton, Austin Reeves, Paolo Banchero, Jalen Brunson, Anthony Edwards, and Brandon Ingram are currently on the roster. And it's weird. So the FIBA World Cup taking place in Philippines, Okinawa, and Indonesia.
Listen, you got
random
Edwards,
three places to have a World Cup.
And Ingram, you are two of the budding superstars in basketball. I'm with it. Ant is that dude.
Well,
I love Anthony
Jackson's
Edwards.
Offensive Player of the Year.
Exactly. So they're like, listen. The fact of the matter is, like, NBA kind of can chill because like now they got all these young dudes playing on this roster. I love it. Also, fuck Cat Towns. Well documented my hatred of Cat Towns.
I would have loved to see Carmelo Anthony be on this roster again, the top scorer in USA history, Olympic basketball history. Oh wait, Kevin Durant broke his record though, but yeah, been fun to see Carmelo Anthony come out of retirement to get himself a international trophy one more time. One last ride.
I still didn't watch Fast and Furious 10.
How did they come up with? How were 10 of those movies?
I don't know. They've lost track. They went from them being just like criminal race drivers to like now they're the Avengers. So
I heard the way the last one ended is it opens it up for another one.
Oh no!
I don't know.
I guess I'll find out tomorrow. I'll go ahead and go watch Fast X.
Yo, I literally the only sequel I watched this year is I watched Creed 3, and I was like fucking blown away. It was fucking awesome. I still haven't even watched Guardians 3 yet, and I'm kind of sad I haven't. But now I'm at this point, I'm just waiting for it to come on Disney Plus.
Guardians is more of a sadder film.
I
It's still very
know
good.
because I'm one of those weird people who doesn't give a fuck about spoilers. So it's like to me, it doesn't fucking matter. I kind of know what happens, but I'll watch it anyway because I'm here for the experience. But like, I don't know. I know what I'm expecting with Guardians 3. I'm still kind of fucking pissed how it ended because there's certain things that could. Listen, I'm a Thor guy. I have literally lightning bolts tattooed on my shoulder because of Thor and Chris Hemsworth's character. And Taika Waititi, I want to punch that dude in the jaw repeatedly for Thor: Love and Thunder. Like, that dude deserves a fucking beer mug to the jaw for what he did in that movie. So much wasted potential.
I liked Creed 3 a lot, but I felt like they spent so much time building up the eventual, like, we all know that they're going to fight, so like, when's it gonna happen? And they just how do you say it? Waited until like the end of the movie for them to actually like push the fight, and I felt like I just watched like 3 minutes of them training for months, and then all of a sudden the fight happens. And I was just
that's
like,
kind of how the Creed movies have kind of rolled with. But like, honestly, like Creed 3 was probably the best one out of the series. I loved 1. I loved 2. Like, there's some of my favorite sports movies of all time. I sat there and watched 3. I was like, oh shit. I left the theater. I was like, damn.
I haven't seen 3 yet.
It's on Amazon Prime. I highly recommend you watch it.
I know. I'm going to watch it eventually.
It is free also on Amazon Prime. If you didn't already say that, but I just had to specify it is free because I almost spent $20 on it one day just to watch, and then the next like 2 days later it was free. So thank God I waited.
All right, fellas, I'm gonna let y'all go. I gotta go push a bunch of furniture around in my house and also finally eat some fucking food.
Is that cool? A dump?
What? No, actually, I'm a big believer. Besides the fact that I do Tai Chi, I'm a big believer in feng shui, and my room and office could easily use a little bit of feng shui changing. I may move some things around before next thing. By the way, Big Blue by Wachusett Brewing, I'm giving this a 9.1 out of 10 for a non-IPA. That's extremely high. Very impressed. I am going to drink another one after dinner. Holy shit, it was awesome. That about wraps it up today, folks. Mr. McCarthy, where can we find your amazing content?
Well, you can find my amazing content on YouTube, on Spreaker, on any podcast platform. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook. We're going to go back live on Monday at 8 p.m. We're actually going to talk about Moneyball in our summer movie review series. Go do a little debating and play some more Questions for Humans Guys Night Edition. If you can't watch us live or on replay on YouTube or Facebook, you can listen to us on a myriad of podcast networks, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Spreaker, wherever podcasts are found. You can find us on social media, Twitter, Instagram, scarcely used TikTok at NoCredsREQ. So find us around. Find us, listen, watch, contribute. Let's have some fun.
There you go. Also, by shout out to Smat Talk Cleveland. Did not realize I missed his comment. My bad. Any slightly above average quarterback? Yeah, for a Browns fan, that seems like PTSD to me. Mr. Flores, tell these folks where they can find your amazing stuff.
Obviously on Instagram and Twitter at InsertNameFC. Also follow us on Thread. Thread's now becoming a new thing. We just
launched ours too, baby.
So go ahead and follow us on that as well. Yeah, man. I mean, obviously Gold Cup is going on, so we're definitely going to talk about it. There's a lot of huge transfers that are coming up this summer. So, me and Ed, we're definitely going to be busy with that. So new episodes always drop Friday. I know Ryan loves it when I start spamming the hell out of our group chats.
Yeah, it's Friday when Insert FC, Dame FC drops their stuff.
Yeah, no new episode this Friday, but we'll be back at it next week.
All righty. And we are not doing an episode this Tuesday. I'll be dropping my Sunday conversation with our boy Subi from Theater and College Hoops. It was a great conversation. We talked NBA draft, NBA offseason, NFL, all the other bullshit. Me and Subs, we always have a good conversation. We're talking, both Northeastern boys. We kind of have a good back and forth. It's a good show. I dropped it on me and him did this conversation about 2 weeks ago. It's a good time. I'm going to drop that on Tuesday because me and Matt and Mason are going to enjoy the NFL draft. The MLB Home Run Derby. Holy hell, my brain shot. And the All-Star Game will be back Thursday, obviously. You can find us on Korner Booth Pod on absolutely everything, now including Threads. I dropped the account about 5 minutes ago. Go follow us. And also me at Korner Booth Jared Belly Up Jared because I'm a hoe for followers. Enjoy yourselves, folks. Have a great non-holiday weekend. I guess my little cousin's coming down to visit, so I'm gonna take him out drinking because I gotta be a responsible one. And enjoy yourselves. Have a great weekend, and we will see you guys next Thursday. Peace.
I don't think you meant to do that. And I don't have the requirements.
And we're live! Yeah, live television, folks.
And he did this last time, too, and I don't have the requirements to freaking end this live.
So, what do we do here?